What is going on, everybody? Hey, this is your boy JC from JC Sports Talk, and today I do have with me a special guest. She know about the Pittsburgh Steelers, and this is my first and last one this week. So, without further ado, please introduce yourself and let them know a little bit about you, what you're working on, and stuff.
Sure. What's up, everybody? My name's Jordan. I am part of several different podcasts in the Pittsburgh sports world. I'm on Yinzers. We talk about the Steelers. I'm on a Penguins podcast, but I live in Pittsburgh. I grew up in the area. Huge fan of all things black and gold, and I love taking any opportunity that I can to talk more about the teams that I root for, despite however bad they may be playing, because that's the case for the Steelers right now. It's not great. Not great.
So you do, talk about the Penguins too, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep, that was it's another podcast that I do called Podcasts on Fifth Ave, and then I have my own Helmet Hair. I talk about all three of the professional sports teams in Pittsburgh. Pirates not so much, because they don't give me much to talk about, but Steelers and Penguins mostly. I love them both.
So how did you get into, like talking sports and, like football and hockey? What happened? Like, was it a family tradition? What happened?
It definitely was family. It was all based on my family. My dad and my grandpa, for the most part, they got me really, really into the Steelers. And the first memory that I have of talking sports with somebody who wasn't related to me, a friend of mine in 6th grade invited me over to her house to hang out with friends during the Steelers-Jets playoff game in the 2004-2005 season. And I ended up not hanging out with my friends. I was watching the game in the basement with all the dads, and we were just, going off about the game, talking, and then the dad invited me back the following week for the AFC Championship game against the Patriots. So I've been talking sports for honestly as long as I can remember. But I got into the podcasting game back in the early stages of the lockdown in 2020. It was just something that I always kind of wanted to do, and friends of mine who don't like sports were always saying that they enjoyed listening to me rant about sports. So when I was just kind of bored and had all of this recording gear for music stuff, I was like, why not? I have so much time. I'll see if I can get into it. If nothing else, it'll just be fun. It'll be low stress, fun. And it just kind of started becoming more and more of a thing. So I've been doing this since 2020, April of 2020, and it's a lot of fun, and I love it. And misery loves company for the most part.
Absolutely.
In this, but it's fun. It's a good time.
Yeah, absolutely. And you already got a fan because he's a Giants fan. So he said, "What's up? My name is Prince. I'm a Giants fan and absolutely hate the Eagles." You see what I go through? This is what I go through when I log on. You get haters everywhere. But shout out to Prince, man. So that's what I'm talking about. What's up, Ted? I got to go in a minute for my playoff game. Just saying what's up. Hey, I appreciate you and good luck tonight. He's a Bengals fan. So I have fans, everywhere. So you're not alone. So you're not going to be the only Pittsburgh fan in there. Somewhere, somehow, somebody's going to come up in here.
I love it.
But without further ado, let's get into the injury report. And we know that this game is about to happen on Sunday. The Eagles are coming off a bye, pretty healthy for the most part. The hamstring issue with Brendan Graham, that's kind of had me worried a little bit. I don't know how he got hurt. Against the Cowboys, he was fine, so I don't know if he got hurt during the bye, but he was able to be, limited practice. But Lane Johnson, concussion against the Cowboys, he is a full go, so he'll be there. But those two guys, and Jalen Hurts, we don't know what's going on with him. He might have had an illness or something, but if I know Jalen Hurts, he's going to play on Sunday.
Yeah.
So I'm not worried about that. So, but still, so what's going on as far on your side? What have you heard?
Well, I know that TJ Watt has been back at the practice field, and he spoke to the media today, sort of teasing that it's a possibility that he could play on Sunday. We were kind of talking about it before we started rolling, but it's not up to him. If the staff, coaching staff, medical staff, they decide it's not worth it to risk him coming out, they won't do it. But he's still on IR. He hasn't been elevated. The more concerning things for me, because I'm going into this game assuming TJ Watt's not going to play. Chris Boswell being questionable. That's rough.
The kicker.
The majority of our points are a result of him. So if he's not there, we're just not going to score. If we're going based off what we've seen so far this season, our offense can't score touchdowns. And Larry Ogunjobi being out is rough. It's bleak for our already pretty depleted defense. They've really struggled against the run. They've had a hard time getting to quarterbacks. It's not the steel curtain right now. It's kind of like a spatula. There are a lot of holes in there. It's pretty bad. So I don't know. We'll see. I'm just keeping an eye on Chris Boswell really closely because I'm.
Who's your backup kicker?
Couldn't even tell you. I don't know. But it's not Chris Boswell. We need him.
I do have him on my fantasy team also, by the way.
He's really good. Really good.
Yeah, he's pretty good. I mean, he's pretty good, but we'll see what happens, man. But
we'll see.
We will, because like the Philadelphia Eagles are good against opposing kickers. We barely allow them to kick. Average points per game is about 17.9 per game that they're giving up. So not a lot of opportunities for field goals. So we'll see if they even get a chance to kick. They might go for 2 every time. Who knows? They might go for 2 when they score a touchdown. So we'll see what happens. But
we might have to.
So coming into this year, so when you saw this roster on paper, what was going through your mind? How good or bad did you think that this team would be?
I thought they would at least be more exciting to watch than the team that we saw last year, because I knew Pittsburgh has a hate relationship with offensive coordinators. We haven't really liked anybody since Ken Wisenhunt, which was back in the Cowher days. Maybe Bruce Arians, he was pretty solid, but that was we don't like offensive coordinators, and we knew Matt Canada was a problem last year, but I also kind of figured that Ben's lack of mobility and his declining arm strength, I thought that was a bigger factor even than Matt Canada's play calling. So I was looking at okay, there's at least sort of some new life at the quarterback position. That's good. Our offensive line is still a question mark, but our defense locked down, really solid with TJ and Tyson Alualu coming back. I thought that on paper it was going to be a great thing. Minka, Terrell Edmonds he's been making progress every year since we drafted him. So hopeful that Devin Bush would have some kind of bounce back year. Alex Highsmith, everything was.
He's balling though. Alex is balling. 6.5 sacks.
The highlight of the whole team. Him and Chris Boswell, that's.
And Minka not doing too bad either.
No, he's great.
3 interceptions.
So it's not all bad. It's definitely not all bad. But I had. I had this team going maybe 10-7, 11-6, some being more average.
Wild card or no? Okay.
Maybe because the AFC is pretty competitive, so I figured they would.
Well, we thought so, though. We thought so. Hey, look at all these teams.
Yeah.
Hey, look at the Broncos, the Raiders.
What the hell's up with the Broncos? Seriously,
I mean,
my
hey,
God,
that's right.
Russ.
That's right.
Yeah.
You know, that's it.
Stop
hey,
saying that.
Hey, Jordan, that's right.
Yeah. It's so bad. Oh,
but definitely, yes. Hey, look, I also thought the same thing, that the AFC was going to be the gauntlet. It seems like that all across the board, there isn't a real dominant division or multiple divisions. I mean, you have the AFC East. Who would have thought the Bills, the Jets, the Dolphins right now is probably the best division in the AFC. And then in the NFC, you got the Eagles, the Cowboys, the Giants. You know, that's the best, division in the NFC. So who would have thought that? So I do kind of agree with you. I thought in the beginning, like Pittsburgh, a young quarterback court. I mean, we're going to talk about it, but a 10-7 would probably be good enough for a wild card because they did add an extra spot.
We'll see. I mean, we'll see. You said anything can happen. Anything can happen.
Anything can happen. Eagles was 2-5 last year. We made the playoffs. So I'm telling you, anything can happen. So we definitely was talking about it in backstage. But what's up, the 803 Hitman? Yeah, Pittsburgh is really depleted, but it's fairly early in the season. That is correct. I would rest as many as I can this game if I was Mike Tomlin. He's an Eagles fan, so he might want an easier way, especially when the next question is, when is Pittsburgh bye week? I think it's next week, right?
Next week. Yep, it's next week. Thank God.
So if you're Mike Tomlin, if you're the Pittsburgh Steelers, knowing that you have a lot of injuries and your bye week is next week, what would you do? Would you kind of rest some guys and say, look, man, the Eagles are 6-0. We about to go, to Philadelphia. We don't have enough, a loser mentality, by the way. Or would you say, hey, look, let's go in there and be the first team. Let's try to be the first team that be a 6-0 team, especially when we know how it feels like to be undefeated. Y'all were 11-0. And then the Washington Redskins at the time, I think it was, came in and beat y'all on either Thursday night or Monday night, whichever COVID night it was.
Yeah, it was weird. It was so weird.
It was weird. So, so what would your mindset be? Just putting it out there.
Honestly, if I'm Mike Tomlin, my goal would never be to throw a game.
Yeah.
But looking at how some of the second and third string guys played against Tampa Bay, and granted, Tampa Bay has struggled the past few weeks. They haven't looked very good. But there were 4 different guys who were wearing the number 16. We had no idea who was in our secondary because we had so many injuries that week. And they shut them down. Mike Evans, Chris Godwin didn't really do much of anything. It was if I'm Mike Tomlin, my mindset would be, we just need to get to the bye. The first half of this season was a discombobulated mess. Yeah. There was no real identity for this team. I wouldn't want to just coast to the bye, but I would want to be honest about the state of the team. Okay, if we really want to make a push for the playoffs, we need to get healthy, first of all, and take a beat. Figure out who we are, what we're doing here. And unfortunately, a lot of that has to do with the coordinators and the wonky schemes that they've been coming up with. It's not very good. But I would rest some guys. If TJ's cleared, I wouldn't put him in. You're so close to the bye. Just take the week off, breathe for a second. It feels like every time this team is going into play, the best team in the league, they're counted out by everybody, and then somehow they pull out a win by the skin of their teeth. So I'm not saying that's going to happen. I think this is an easy win for you, no matter.
No. I'm not sleeping on the Pittsburgh. No, Mike Tomlin is one of the top 3 best coaches in the NFL right now. Yo, I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan of Mike Tomlin, especially that year. He had like 3 starting quarterbacks and still happened to make it to the playoffs. Yo, this dude, he rarely have a losing season. I think he probably had maybe 1 or 2 losing seasons since he's been there. So
he hasn't had any, not a single one. That's his claim to fame. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. So right now, if you know Mike Tomlin, he's not talking like you. He's like, come on, guys, we can do it, and we're gonna go out there with duct tape and spit. Let's go beat them. Let's be the first team that take them out. Let's go beat the undefeated. So, so I definitely think that they're gonna go hard because, like you said, next week is their bye. So now they got about 2 weeks to heal. So I mean, you don't want too much time,
Yeah,
this is the NFL. This is the regular season, so you don't want to give them 3 weeks off, But definitely, if I know Mike Tomlin, he's definitely gonna go for it. He's gonna
go after it. Yeah, it's and that's why he's the coach and I'm not, among many other reasons too. But yeah, he's gonna really, really try for this win, and I hope they get it. I'm a fan. I want to see them win. I don't want to see them tank and get a higher draft pick. I want to see them win. And if there's ever the tiniest sliver of hope that they're gonna come out and make the playoffs, like I want to see it happen. Like let's go, because all you have to do is make it to the playoffs, and then it's new season.
Anything can happen.
Plate. Yep,
it's a brand new season. All right, so look, let's talk about the quarterbacks. First of all, I don't even know who's going to start, by the way. But to start the season,
I think it's Kenny. I think
Kenny, is he healthy? Is he good to go?
He's healthy. Yeah, he's good. Yep.
All right, so to start the season, y'all had Mitch Trubisky. He's the guy. He came out so far this year. He has thrown for 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, been sacked 9 times, right? And then y'all was like, you know what? Let's go with Pickett. He came in, he throws about 2 touchdowns, 7 interceptions, and been sacked 6 times. Woo! Was that a smart decision early in the season to try to move on from Mitch Trubisky so fast, especially when the guy you brought in has already thrown 7 interceptions compared to 2 touchdowns?
It's tough because so many, like 90% of those interceptions went straight through the hands of the receivers, like bounced off, went through, like it. And they're interceptions. Stats are stats. Like you can't take that away, and you can't put an asterisk next to it and be like, but should have been a catch. But at the same time, like a lot of people in Pittsburgh are kind of saying about the Mitch versus Kenny thing. Like, Mitch is a veteran, and we know what we're getting with him. Like, you've seen it all. You know what's coming. Like, his ceiling is pretty low, like very average height, and his floor is kind of like not that far beneath it. Like, his upside doesn't necessarily make up for his lack of mistakes. Like, and what the offense really needs is somebody who's going to take chances. And that's what Kenny's done. And it hasn't always obviously paid off for him, but he's also a rookie, and he's going to take some time to develop, and he will need to learn when to take those chances and when to hold off. Like that final drive interception last week against Miami, where it was like, oh damn it, that was rough. But that's a rookie mistake. I don't think that's a bad quarterback mistake. I think there was a little bit of miscommunication there. He forced something that he shouldn't have forced, and I honestly, like, the whole thing, nobody thought that Kenny Pickett was going to be available for the Steelers when they drafted. So when they brought in Mitch, it was just kind of like a bridge quarterback thing. And then when Kenny was available, it was like, okay, so he's the guy, but let's give him some time to sit, learn. And then when it became evident that Mitch was not going to get anything done for this offense, it was like, yeah, no, we need some kind of spark. And Kenny has at least provided that. Like he's got some kind of fire in him that he wants.
He looks good in preseason, though.
Oh yeah,
like in preseason, he looked good. You know, he had that good connection with Pickens. I mean, they had a great connection, but it was preseason. You know, it was against some backups, some guys that's not been in the league, but still, he looked good. So, all right. So, a question before we move on: why didn't the Steelers go after a veteran quarterback like a Jimmy G or a Russell Wilson or anybody out there besides Mitch Trubisky?
Honest to God, I think it was cap stuff. Russell Wilson would have been. They would never have been able to afford him ever. Just no money. Even Jimmy G, what he was kind of asking for was a lot of money. And no, I don't think anybody predicted the way that Russ was going to kind of drop off this season. So there's that. But with the quarterbacks that the Steelers could kind of afford, Mitch was the best that they could do, really, or overpay for a guy like Jimmy G, who's going to maybe be slightly better than Mitch Trubisky. So, and they weren't looking for their franchise guy in free agency because they knew they weren't going to find him. It was interesting. I didn't hate it when it happened, but it's one of those things that kind of played out in a way that wasn't ideal.
See, I thought it was a okay move, especially with this guy right here. You have Najee Harris in the backfield. I had him last year in fantasy. I'm like, man, this dude is about to ball. The offense is about to go through Najee. Because last year you had a Ben that could not move, the Statue of Liberty. He still balled. So imagine having a quarterback that could semi-move and be okay. So now you got to worry about, the quarterback taking off, the run, your big tight end, your wide receivers. So I thought that he was going to ball. What is going on? Is it the injuries on the offensive line? Is it the scheme that he's running behind? What is going on with Najee? He's averaging about 3.3 yards a carry. Only had 1 rushing touchdown, 2 receiving touchdowns. But what is going on with Najee this upcoming season? Only had 329 rushing yards so far.
Oh, that's a painful number. I think it's a lot of things. Because when plays aren't being called right, the offense is just kind of a disaster from top to bottom a little bit. But when the offensive line is creating opportunities for Najee, he's just running straight into them, right into their butts. He's not seeing well. He's not making good decisions. I think they mentioned that steel plate that he was wearing in his shoe from the Liz Frank injury. That's finally out of his shoe. What? But he looked just as skittish in the game against the Dolphins. So I don't know what.
Do you think it's the weight? I mean, he did put up 10, 15 pounds of muscle, right?
He did. Yeah, he got a little stockier, but I don't know, because it's his physicality is all there, but he just isn't. He's not executing very well. It's that's honestly the biggest head scratcher for me this season. What?
So how are teams playing the run against the Steelers then? Are they having 8 in the box, and having whatever quarterback back there try to beat them and then trying to stop Najee, or is the box open for him?
It's honestly teams don't really have to play to defend the run against the Steelers, because he's not making it very far. He's making it a few yards before he just kind of runs into either one of our guys or one of the front 7. It seems like they're just kind of it's very clear cut for defenses what they have to do because it's going to be run, dinky screen pass on a check down. Like that's pretty much the Steelers' blueprint for every single offensive drive that they've had. And that's not difficult to defend against, especially when your running back isn't seeing holes or holes aren't there because the offensive line isn't as bad as I thought they were going to be, but they're still not good. So it's a whole mess.
So, all right. So now let's go into your wide receiver core. You know, coming into the season, you have a Pickens and a Deontay Johnson and Chase Claypool. Right now, like total TD for all those guys combined, including Fairmouth, right? Fairmouth.
Yeah.
Fairmouth. Yeah. It's 5 total TDs, 7 games in. So I mean, is it bad quarterback play, bad execution on the wide receivers running routes? I mean, these guys are not scrubs. You know, Pickens is very, very good. I mean, this dude would catch anything. Deontay Johnson, he's also, very good. Hey, we know that Chase, look, he put up 4 touchdowns against the Eagles. That was his coming out party. Yeah. So we know about Chase. So why had the wide receiver core struggled so far?
I think the biggest issue is the offense's inability or unwillingness to attack the middle of the field. There's like an aversion to that. Like they're always going outside so that like posts, like they're flooding the sidelines. Like I don't know what that's about, but it's weird. Like they're not utilizing that part of the field. They're not utilizing Chase Claypool. Well, since Kenny came in, he's been throwing up a lot of like jump balls, trying to get the receivers to fight for contested catches because they do have an advantage a lot of times in size. But there's this weird continued phenomenon among primarily Deontay Johnson and Chase Claypool of these dropped they just keep dropping the ball. And I know that like Deontay was fighting for more looks in I can't remember what game it was. It was I think Mitch's last game in as starter. And Chase Claypool too. They're like, get us the ball, and then the ball's there and
it dropped.
And I have no idea what that's about. But like another issue, George Pickens has been a dog. Like he's unreal. He's so good. And they'll target him a couple times. He'll make unbelievable catches. And then it's like he disappears for 2 more quarters. And then they'll put him back out there in the 4th. It's like, where did he go? Why aren't you using him? Why are you not getting him the ball as many times as you can? Like, because seriously, that one beautiful catch that he made against the Dolphins, that was it. They didn't target him again for like the remainder of the 2nd and 3rd quarters. It's like, what are you doing? It's really, really frustrating. And I'm not sure what the first issue they should attack is. Probably just going towards the middle of the field. Cause like when Kenny's throwing it to Freiermuth up the middle, that's when they start marching. They get in that tempo and that rhythm and they make things happen. But then it's as soon as they start going out to the outside, it's just like, oh God, this is a mess.
So do you think, because I already said that, Mitch been sacked 9 times, Kenny been sacked 6 times, a total of 15 times. Do you feel like that they have time enough to scan the field, to go through their reads enough before they are on their backs or running for their lives? I mean, is the offensive line holding up enough for them to be able to deliver a good ball?
I really thought they did when Mitch was under center. Most of the time he got sacked, he was just waiting way too long. Like he was holding on to that ball, and it may have been that the receivers weren't getting open, but he just it seemed to to me that he was just overthinking everything, and then all of a sudden, boom, the pocket collapsed and he's down on the field. The offensive line, just by nature, they're not that good, and there's a lot of inexperience there. So I think that as this young season has gone on, they've gotten progressively worse, which is saying something because the starting point wasn't very high. But I do think that for Kenny, at least, like they have not been giving him nearly enough time to. And again, like the play calling, like the receivers, the routes, there's a lot of miscommunication. So it may just be that the receivers have no idea where they're going or what they should be doing. And then the offensive line is like, we've done all we can. And then Kenny's on the ground. Like it's hard to take it all in because so much of it feels like Groundhog Day, that when I watch them play, I'm just in disbelief. I'm like, how?
Yeah, I feel you. I feel you. Hey, shout out to everybody that's watching, man. Please make sure y'all hit that like button. Well, Kenny was like, it's not going to happen, but we ain't sleeping on Mike Tomlin. I think he's the best coach in the NFL. With the coach like Mike Tomlin, anything is possible. We better not look past this team. I agree. Hitman, that's true. Mike is a mastermind, but every dog has his day or season. So, I mean, look, we are not looking past the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Philadelphia Eagles have bigger goals than to look past any team, especially with the quarterback we have and Jalen Hurts. So, with that being said, heading into Philly, what do you think the game plan will be or should be like? You're not the coach, but what do you want to see? How can this team, march down the field, put some points up, at least put fear in the Eagle fans' heart? Oh my God, this team can play. What can they do, to make that happen?
Yeah. I think on the defensive side of the ball, they're really going to have to put pressure on Jalen Hurts because he is such a three-dimensional quarterback. He can move, he can throw, he's kind of got it all going on. And if they can limit him, if they can at least keep him contained to just sort of being a passing threat, keep him from gaining yards on the ground, like that will help the secondary just kind of lock down that area of the field. Because if they open it up, and they've been pretty bad against the run all season, with TJ being out, that just like they started off great against Cincinnati, but when he went out, it was like
7 sacks, right? 7 sacks.
Insane against the Bengals, whose offensive line is supposed to be rock solid. So that's got to be priority. I think just containing Jalen Hurts and Miles Sanders too. I think that they really have to focus on the run game, because as soon as that dynamic is in, they flounder. Because from what we've seen, the offense can't put a drive together that is more than a couple sets of downs. Like it's rough, and unfortunately, I feel like we're going to get the same offense. Like there needs to be more creativity in play calling, because defenses know exactly what to expect. If there's no way it's going to change, and that's unfortunate as a fan, because it's probably going to look a lot like it has in the first however many games of this season. But if they want to take advantage of the Eagles defense, they have to come up with something a little bit more.
Do you think they're going to attack the outside, big play Slade, James Bradbury, or do you feel like it's going to be more in the center, with Pat and, Najee Harris, a quick wide receiver screen, a running back screen? So how do you feel like this offensive game plan will be like, especially against the Philadelphia Eagles front that could get to the quarterback, which they don't really blitz at all? I mean, they kind of fake, under coverages, and then at the last second, they bring everybody back, and then boom, now you got like 4 guys coming, but you just don't know where those 4 guys are.
I think they're going to need to, in the air, attack the center of the field, get the ball to have Chase Claypool go into the center, have Pat Freiermuth just kind of right up the middle.
I agree.
On the ground, though, I think they need to get Najee to bump out. Like, I think that he needs to start trying to, like, swing out, maybe do some counters. I don't even know, like, but he is not finding success trying to find holes in the line going up the middle of the field. Like, if he can bounce outside, I feel like he would find way more daylight and actually be able to utilize his physicality and gain more than 3 yards on average. Like, so I think and that's totally, both of those things are very contrary to what they've been doing all season, and I will see if they mix it up at all. But that, in the air on, they need to.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. Definitely a big play Slay. He's on fire right now. I mean, he's been one of the best DBs in the league. Already got 3 picks. Tied him for last year. Altogether, he had 3 picks. And then on the other side, the Philadelphia Eagles went out this offseason and got another number 1 DB in James Bradbury. Already got 2 interceptions. Our safety was Charcy Gardner, got 3 interceptions. So we have multiple guys with multiple interceptions on this defense. So I really think maybe the weakness, if I could call it the weakness, which I don't really call it weakness, but I would definitely just stay away from those 2 corners because they are top 4 and literally locking receivers down will be the middle of the field with Pat, with Clay, with Chase Clay. He torched us his rookie year. We are scarred for life. 4 touchdowns. We cut that all season. We got rid of that linebacker. What was that linebacker name? I don't even remember. So we got rid of him because he got torched and we lost against y'all. And I was mad about it. I'm like, come on, man. 4 touchdowns, one guy.
He had a game, yeah.
Y'all couldn't stop that one guy.
Crazy.
After the second one, look, I would have just, put 3 people on him. Make somebody else beat you. But, yeah. So, all right. So, now your biggest concern this upcoming matchup, what are your biggest concern facing the Philadelphia Eagles? Is it turnovers? Is it, hey, we might get blown out? Like, I mean, what is your concern that's going through your mind right now? And then we're going to go through the 3 keys and your score prediction and get you out of here.
My big concern is that the offense isn't going to put up points. They've had a hard time scoring touchdowns. I'm afraid that they're going to keep going 3 and out. The defense is going to keep going out on the field, and they'll probably start strong. And then as the game goes on, they'll get worn down. And I just don't see it not playing out that way. But that's my concern, that the offense isn't going to be able to string together any drives that end in 7 points. I don't know. And especially if Boswell's out, like, we're screwed. Like, we're very screwed.
All right. So a bonus question for you. If you could pick one person from the Eagles, who would it be? Mine would be Najee Harris. I'm a big Najee Harris fan. I like his style running, like he's just that dude that you could put in the backfield and say, go get me a couple yards. He got the quick feet, the big back type of style. So who would you pick from the Philadelphia Eagles?
I would love to pick like a splash player, but honest to God, I think I would have to go Jason Kelce. Like, we desperately need a good center.
Heart and soul and defense. Leave him alone. No.
Yeah.
I love Kelce.
We need a center so bad. We need upgrades on every part of the offensive line, and we just have not had solid play at center in a while, in several
ever
years.
Since what was the brother? What was that?
Marquise Pouncey. Yeah,
Pouncey. Yeah, 2 brothers. Yeah.
And even his last year wasn't that great. He just Yeah, he struggled and then he retired, and it was like, this is rough. But
All
yeah,
right,
I would go to Kelsey.
Nah, leave Kelsey alone. Nah, don't touch him. He's untouchable. All right. So here we go. 3 keys to victory, and give me your score prediction. So 3 reasons. If the Steelers pull this win off, what are 3 reasons? What went right for them to pull this win off?
Minkah Fitzpatrick, pick 6. That's gonna be one. Again, not to beat it over the head, but a little bit more creativity and offensive play calling just to maintain possession of the ball. Manage the clock a little bit more, because God knows they need to be in control of that more than they have been. And honestly, a healthy Chris Boswell. Like, I think those are my 3 things. Like, if we can get a turnover for some points, give the offense some life, flair a little bit, and then have our kicker be out there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I just those are my 3 things.
So look, I think if the Pittsburgh Steelers should win this game, is 1, we can't stop the run. The Philadelphia Eagles are about like between 10 and 12 and stopping the run. So we're not like this, this team that don't let people run. You could run on the Philadelphia Eagles. So if Najee Harris run the ball, averaging about 4 or 5 yards per carry, it's going to be a long freaking day. And of course, like you said, your defense is on the field. The time of possession, you control the clock, you keep Jalen Hurts on the sideline. So that'd be 1. Special teams. The Philadelphia Eagles are so bad at special teams. We are ranked number 32nd in special teams, especially when it comes to returning the ball. That's why we went out and brought back Greg Ward. Hopefully he give us a little spark, but I don't see that happening. But if y'all have a kick return back, whatever, that will be it. And then, like you said, 2 people, Alex Highsmith and Minkah Fitzpatrick. If any of those things happen, if a pick 6 happen or sack fumble happen, that is a game changer right there. And look, y'all have, in order to be an undefeated team, it's any given Sunday, but all 3 phases have to be working, offense, defense, and special teams. And look, that's how y'all got beat when y'all were 11-0. Washington came in there and they maybe. But look, I really appreciate you coming on. Look, I know, I know it's not the best moment, to be a Steeler fan, but I'm going to give you one advice. Keep your head up. It's an early season. It's a long season. Believe in Mike Tomlin. Anything could happen with that guy. And y'all do have a good defense, believe it or not. Y'all got some balls on that defense. If y'all could fix your offense a smidge, y'all could do some damage. But any last word before I let you go? And where Thickly Fondria on Twitter and what you're working on? Yeah,
right on. Well, first of all, thanks for having me. This was a blast. I'm really glad that it worked out to do this. I'm looking forward to the game. Hopefully it's a good game. Like, I want to see the team be competitive. So here's hoping there's some good action, because oh my God, there have been some awful football games this season across the league. Like, really boring, really, really bad. But yeah, we'll see. Hopefully it's a good game. Hopefully no serious injuries, because that's been another issue. But yeah, I'm on Twitter at Fidge Newton, Fidge Newton. And then I write for Steelers Wire. I host Pittsburgh sports podcast, and I talk about craft beer in the area too. It's called Helmet Hair, on Twitter at Helmet Hair Pod. And then I'm also part of a podcast where we talk about the Steelers called Yinzers. And then I'm part of a podcast where we talk about the Right On. Yeah, it's all right there. And then podcast on Fifth Ave. Yeah, so that's all the good stuff. I tweet a lot. Yep. So I'm pretty active on there if you want to follow along. And hopefully. Sir.
Yes. Yeah. Hey, already hit that follow button, because I can't wait to see your tweets during the game. I will be doing my play-by-play. Of course, I do play-by-play for every Eagles game. If I'm not at the game, I'll be right here doing literally the play-by-play. So feel free to drop by and let me know what your thought is, up or not. So definitely swing by. But if you're not following me already on Twitter, JC Sports Talk 20, and also on YouTube, hit that subscribe button for your boy on the way to 4K. As always, go Birds.